In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to America in Black and White, Season 3, Episode 159. I'm your host, Charles King, and tonight we're diving into a conversation that matters deeply, especially as the holiday season approaches. For many in underserved, marginalized, and LGBTQ communities, the holidays can bring financial stress, pressure to spend, and sometimes the temptation to go beyond our means. But prosperity isn't about how much you spend, it's about how wisely you manage what you have. Tonight, we're joined by three incredible voices: Kamar R. Jones, an investigator and investor, creating opportunities for everyday people; Shelia Prosser, a financial planner, helping families and individuals build stability; and Jasmine R. Willois, a real estate investor, showing us how ownership can transform lives. Together, we'll explore how to protect your money, grow your wealth, and celebrate the holidays without financial regret. This is about empowerment, legacy, and making sure our communities thrive long after the holiday lights fade. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you all to Shelia Prosser. Miss, hello, how are you?
I'm
Uh,
doing good.
Before we get going, I just gotta let you guys know that our other two guests are like fighting flights, so they will join us eventually. So Miss Prosser, it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. Thank you so much, Charles. It's been a while, but thank you for having me again.
Yes, and we have Mr. Jones that's joined us as well as Miss Willois. So let's start with you, Shalia. Can you tell everyone, tell us something about what you do and who you are?
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Good evening, panel. Hi. My name is Shelia Prosser. I've been in the financial industry. I literally just got reminded that it was 17 years of me being in the industry. So, um, I'm just here. My goal and my passion has always been to educate our community about financial literacy and financial education, and just be that advocate for people, because if we don't do it, who else is going to help our folks, right? So that's why I'm here. I enjoy what I do. I meet a lot of people, and it's just really, really, really just getting grounded and really just having people understand that they can turn their finances around as well. So.
Miss Willois, can you tell us who you are and some things about you as well?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for having me. Little technical difficulties here, but yeah, I'm out of San Diego. My name is Jasmine Willois. I'm with the Note Assistance Program, and what I do is I go around educating people interested about private equity, specifically the secondary mortgage market. So, the quickest way for me to tell you about that is that I fell in love with this product as soon as I found it as an alternative way to invest in the real estate segment. But again, buying mortgages. So not many people knew that you can buy, never mind invest in mortgages. So the quickest way for me to get that across is if you own a home, if you have had a mortgage on a home, anywhere between 2 days after you buy it to 5 years, you're going to get a letter in the mail saying, please send your payments elsewhere, right? And if you can relate to that, that means that there is an investor that purchased your loan. And so that's what the side of real estate investing I like to bring to our people, get them educated on so they can learn how to trade that paper as well as those hard assets. Thank you.
And Mr. Jones, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do?
Yeah. Yes, hi. I'm Kamar Jones. I'm the founder and CEO of PPI Capital. PPI Capital is a hedge fund / PE fund that focuses on the junior mining sector. And we're deep value investors, and we take a bottom-up approach when we buy junior mining assets. Our portfolio is seeking to gain at least a 30% IRR annually and to get to cash in 18 months. Our performance has been on the public side 3x from inception, which was October 2024. And if you include private assets in the portfolio, we're about 4.5 to 5x up. So we've been getting tremendous success during that time through different areas of expertise that we have.
Well, I want to thank each and every last one of you for being here and having the opportunity to help some of our people to understand a lot about why they should not overspend during this holiday period, but also how to make this money that they have, how to make it work for them. I'm going to start my first question with you, Shelia. Can you tell us what's the first step someone should take to get control of their finances?
Don't spend anything. No, I'm just don't do it. If you think about doing it, no, that's not. I'm just joking, having fun. It's budgeting, which that's like the B word that people run from. You go for what you need versus what you want. Okay. And that's a heavy statement because a lot of, you have parents, getting the holidays, they get crazy. Oh, I got to get my kid this and buy this and they need this and need that. And it's, and then it goes back to, is it a need or is it a want? And so we sit down and we have those conversations because, it's good that you want to be a blessing and you want to, you're in the spirit and you want to buy everything, but you don't have to do it in the month of December. Okay. So we have to, okay. You don't have to do it in the month of December. It doesn't have to necessarily be. And a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. But at the end of the day, when December 26th happened, when it comes, you right back to where you were at December 24th. Right. So we just want to, just have those conversations and really just make a list of your needs and wants. And then again, you have to budget. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating the holidays, but you don't start 2 weeks before the holiday. Okay, that's something that you can plan strategically throughout the whole year so you can get the best of what you want at the end of the year. So that's, major. What I usually have more conversations now than I do in January, February. So,
Kamar, can you tell us what inspired you to focus on creating investment opportunities for underserved communities?
Say that again, Charles. I'm sorry. Again.
What inspired you to focus on creating investment opportunities for underserved communities?
Okay, thank you. What inspired me to do that? My whole life has been inspired by helping underserved communities, and so when I founded PPI Capital, it was just a natural fit to introduce and get underserved communities or people that are part of underserved communities an opportunity to invest inside or invest alongside affluent investors and some very savvy players in the mining space. And so you feel, I won't say obligated, but it feels like a thing that I should be doing as an African American.
And Jasmine, what you do is like everybody is like just seeking to run and get that big prize because everybody thinks about real estate. And so, can you tell us what drew you to real estate as a path to wealth?
How do we say that again? How do I use real estate as a path of wealth?
I said, what drew you to real estate as a path to wealth?
Well, here's what I can tell you. I was raised on real estate, so I didn't really have a choice. So that's one of the different caveats, right? We're all kind of born into this world at different places. So my family, originally from the East Coast, my great aunt and my grandmother, specifically my great aunt, owned some property out there in Woodstock, and then she also owned some property where she had a camp for a lot of small children. So I was raised to love kids and have real estate as a way to shelter and protect them, right? So then we moved out here. Most of my family became either real estate agents and property managers, and we have a small, rentals and land that we own in California. So real estate's always been a way that my family's made wealth. It was something that I wanted to do because I got bored of traditional real estate, right? So I've always had in my face. But when I thought about myself, I didn't see myself driving, people around, asking them from house to house to say, hey, did you like this kitchen or did you not? So I had a more Wall Street driven background, right? So I had economics. I wanted to go in and learn how to do trading. I was fascinated with the trade. So when you think about note investing, it's a happy medium between being able to trade and also having real estate. So what I trade is backed by real estate. So for the most part, I was raised by it, and then I just started to harness it and then bring people into it from a different perspective.
So can you tell us, how can marginalized communities access real estate opportunities like the ones that you have?
Here's what I'll tell you. First thing is you have to start with people like Shelia here, right? You have to start with people going to teach you the basics, right? So my product is private equity. The first thing I need to do, and I'll always do, is be upfront with everyone, right? This is private equity. It's private for a reason, okay? And you have to have money. It's a pay to play. Period. Amen. Fat lady. But with that said, what I will tell you is that you start with that discipline, right? One of the most genius things I heard her say was, hey, plan for Christmas in January. Okay, that way when you're time for Christmas, you will have a bucket. You might be surprised how much you have. You might have more to spend this time than if you do last minute, right? So what she's putting you on is real game. I was like, this girl's putting them on game, because you start saving in January, you might have more money to spend this Christmas than you thought you had, right? So you'll be surprised pleasantly, in addition to the fact that now you've had time to. So when you think about books like Profit Share, Profits First books, right? I don't know if that's where she's coming from, but these are the books that teach you how to put money aside and pay yourself first. So put the money aside for the Christmas money. Put the money aside for yourself and your investing. Then once you have accumulated a decent size of money, right? Anywhere from 10 to like 25,000, I would say minimum, to come and play over here. Then you can start looking at private equity plays that will kind of get you into the leagues and have you kind of get bigger. And then you can play maybe, and I don't know what the minimums are for Kamar, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but definitely you're gonna need some capital, right?
Yes.
So then, Kamar, how do you help clients set realistic holiday budgets?
Okay, so one of the things, and again, Sheila's a financial advisor. I'm a fund manager, so I don't get into budgeting or advising people in that way. We just manage assets. However, I used to do that when I was in my 20s and early 30s. And so this is what I would advise, is just set realistic expectations with your budget. Stick to it. And one of the things I think that where people go wrong, and I've made these mistakes myself and my family, is you got to have set meetings where you monitor that on a short interval, weekly, bi-weekly, or at worst a month, and review over what you spend compared to your budget, just like any kind of corporation would do or company would do. And so the key thing, again, to recap, is set a realistic budget. Don't make it too tight where it's unrealistic. Monitor and track it at a short interval, and then allow some good things in your budget. It can't just be penny pinching all the time. You have to have some things to reward yourself.
Well, Shelia, let me give you that same question. So how can you help clients set these realistic holiday budgets?
Okay. First of all, both of them, you all gave excellent advice, and the piggyback off of both of them is, realistically, I tell people, give themselves, start with 3 months. Because see, the problem is people are not used to saving at all. And I mean like they'll have a checking account, then they'll have a savings account, and then they like, oh yeah, I'm saving. But as soon as that checking account gets depleted, guess what they're doing? They dipping into that savings. So I never call it a savings account. I said it's part 2 to your checking. Okay, let's get, in order for people to really save, you can't see it. You can't see the money, because people, when they see it, it's like, oh, okay, it's always going to be a need for that. So whatever the purpose of that pot is not that important when your first pot is depleted, right? So budgeting. So what I would say is, start 30 days. Some people have a hard time, but 30 days. If you can just every week, like Jasmine said, you have to pay yourself first. That's one of the concepts that I start with. Pay yourself first, not the cable bill, not the electric bill, not the gas bill, not the, the baby need a new pair of shoes bill, or you need a new pair of shoes, right? You pull money out from the beginning, and then because you have to pay yourself. So even budgeting, I use the analogy of, if you are someone that's getting paid $10 an hour, and I'm just trying to go on the lower end. If you get paid $10 an hour and you save the first hour of each day, right? At the end of the week, that's $50, right? So no, you can't go to Dunkin' Donuts today. No, you can't go. Then we look at the little stuff. Where's your money going, right? Make a 30 days, 90 days, or 60 days, 90 days. Set a time frame when you make a sacrifice. Maybe for the next 2 months, I won't go out every weekend, right? Maybe if I did good for the first 3 weekends, then the last weekend is on me, right? Reward is, you have to set those standards for yourself. Make it a game. Because people get so tight. They so, oh, I can't, that you're penny pinching. Then you say that, right? Penny pinching. No. Instead of, just put some money aside. Start with $25 a week, right? Just do it. Just put it somewhere, right?
Sounds like it's all about habit, right? Just starting those habits.
It is. It's the little things, the little habits. And if you do it consistently, then now is you don't even miss the $25. Then now reward yourself. Give yourself a pay raise. Remember, you paying you, right? Give yourself a pay raise. But if you have a goal, say you want to save $500, right, between now and say the middle of, and I'm doing the lower end, okay, because I just want to make it realistic. If you can save $500 in the next, say, 5 months, so that's $100 a month. That's $25 a week. Once you break things down like that, it seems more realistic than to say, oh yeah, $10,000. Oh my God, where am I going to get that from? All you have to do is break it down, right? Jasmine say, listen, if you need $10,000 at the minimum, then what's your time frame of moving? Where's your time frame of purchasing this house, right? So now it may not be $25 a week. Maybe now it's $50 a week. Right? Because now that is important, is a need, not a want, right? And if you can fulfill your need, you reward yourself with the want, and now everybody's happy, right? And you only make a small sacrifice 6 months. If you can put yourself in a better position financially 6 months from now, is it worth it?
And here's the good news, I'll tell you, is that these checking accounts are unusually aggressive nowadays. For those of us who are old enough to know, we didn't get 4% like we are now, 3%. So, don't poo-poo on these little rates, because it can get worse and lower, right? So right now, this little money that she's talking about, you will see annually that you're getting interest back, right? More so than I remember seeing growing up. So it's all going to start accumulating. So definitely use those accounts as well. I want to add that.
Yes. Exactly. And then that's educating, because a lot of people they don't understand that. A lot of people don't know about interest rates. They don't know, they put their money in the bank. Oh, it's not growing anywhere, because the bank is not in business to make you wealthy, right? Pay your check, cash your bill, pay your bills, right? But now you have to learn where to put your money at. And if you can see it, and if you're not disciplined, it's gone. Yeah. Right. So that's why I say out of sight, out of mind. And sometimes you have to pull the money out of your check before you even hit your bank, if you're really serious about it. So, I have those tough conversations, and sometimes it can get It's not that, none of us are here to make anybody feel bad, right? We're just here to understand what your goal is and realistically, what does it look like? And if you really want it that bad, and like I said, people will do what they want to do when they want it. If they want something bad enough, they're going to figure it out, right? So if buying a home, if getting that car, going on that vacation, travel the world is that important to you, all you need to know is have a game plan on how to financially do it without breaking the bank.
So let me ask you all this, because with each of you having like a different specialty here that actually targets finance. Let me ask you all this. How is it that, let's say, like the average everyday person that really wants to learn about this discipline, where they actually can start to save this money, and let's say they want to get to where Jasmine is, where they want to get that $10,000 to actually start with that kind of fund, or they want to come over to where Kamar is, where he's basically he tries to help, but there's a point where you have to get in where you have to be able to have some kind of funding and actually to get there. Right. And so when you look at this from a realistic perspective, what is you all's opinion as to how people can actually do that other than this atypical way of actually learning to budget? Because I think some people may try to do that, but they don't always get there because there's always something that actually comes up as an obstacle. What are some of the things that they can think to do to realistically get there?
I'll jump in real quick. And people think that budgeting is only for people that don't make a lot of money. And that's not the case. Because if you look at athletes, entertainers, and even businessmen, I'm going to tell you, the more money you make, the more problems. It's real, and so life was a lot simpler when I was a lot younger and just right out of college and didn't have all the things I have now. So getting back to that again is that no one should feel bad about talking about budgeting. This is you have to budget no matter what level you're at. And shareholders that are part of PPI Capital, they're what you would classify as accredited investors. They have to be that way because it's an alternative investment and it's not suitable for everyone. But that doesn't mean that you can't, like Jasmine said, at some point build up to become an accredited investor. And that is through a lot of the things that Sheila is talking about is having that discipline. And because if you don't have the discipline making, let's say, $3,000 a month, you're going to get killed making $30,000 a month. I can promise you, you'll get yourself in so much more problem making more money if you don't set that foundation of discipline first. And there's several books out there that talk about that. The more money you make, the more investments in everything you have, the more complex things get. So don't feel bad with starting a budget or learning how to do that.
And so I'll jump in and just say, just to be direct with what your ask was, which is, what are other ways, right? So 100% what you're going to hear is that none of us are going to say there's a shortcut to discipline. So don't get that at all misled about what. But are there other ways to do it? Yes, right? So one of the things that we do specialize over here is doing just what this gentleman said, is helping people become accredited, right? And so first things first step, you got to get that budgeting. So to be direct, there's not really a other way around learning how to budget. You're going to have to get that done. How that looks to you, whether you use all these new tools that are out there. There's so many things now at your fingertips again. And when I start with 4% savings accounts, there's also apps and things that help you gamify, if that's what you need, your saving. So figure out what saving looks like to you. Get that discipline. There's no shortcut. However, are there other ways to get into the game? 100%. So if you're watching this podcast and you are what I consider not necessarily a spring chicken. So what does that mean? You've had one or two jobs in the past, right? You're not, if you're 17, and some of you have previous jobs, but if you had a job in the past and you've had the opportunity within that job to save money, and they force you to save in 401ks, etc. Once you leave that job, you have money that you can roll over to a self-directed IRA account. Okay. And so if you have not taken that money, and again, back to discipline, and spent it because you left the job and went on vacations, if you still have it and you think to yourself, I remember I worked this job when I was, 22, and there might have been a little something that was rolled over. It's probably sitting in an account. You can roll that over to what's called a self-directed IRA. Now you have money. Now you're cooking with fire. Now you can reach out to someone like myself, and perhaps, I'm not sure if his fund actually accepts money from self-directed IRAs or retirement accounts, but 9 times out of 10, those retirement accounts are ways that you can backdoor and get involved into these private equity spaces. I know here, 60% of our deals are done with people's retirement accounts, but that's one of the ways that I help people get to that accredited status by what? Using that money that's sitting there, right? And maybe up and down in stock market that you don't understand, but putting into a product like a mortgage note that has aggressive returns, hitting anywhere from 11 to 15, going back into your tax sheltered account, right? But this is all using these vehicles out there properly, right? You're getting 11 into a tax sheltered account. Now you're looking at, just because you're not paying taxes, a good 16. Now your money's starting to work like the big boys. You're hitting institutional levels, right? And so now you're able to get that retirement at ease. You can use that money to invest in other, like I said, products like his, as he'll maybe speak to in a second. But there are other ways. So I will recommend books like there's a book called Profit First that I encourage you to read. That's going to be the foundation of starting with what she's saying to do, your savings and things of that nature, that discipline that we're going to tell you can't go over. And then the other thing I'm going to tell you is that there's this book by a friend of mine called Banker's Code, which I highly recommend. This will talk to you about your qualified retirement plans, okay? And that's just what I was speaking about. If you don't already have one, okay, but you don't know you may have one, then you can start one, okay, and add that to your list that she's talking about. When you pay yourself, drop another 5, hit those retirement qualified minimums, because again, they just raise them so you can actually catch up. So I'll land this plane by saying this. If you're watching this and you're not a spring chicken, right, and you're like, hey, don't give up, right? There are other tools and vehicles that these people will be able to help you utilize so you can get more aggressive and safer. You don't always have to get increased risk if you know the proper tools. Thank you.
Yes, that was excellent. And Jasmine, you're dead on, and so are you, Mr. Jones. So some of the tools, what I do is a process of elimination. Again, it goes back. People, here's the deal. I don't have any money. I'm broke. Everything is tied. Money is everywhere. And nobody really knows where the money is going, right? So the budget, we have a budget sheet. And I always, I say, when I give my clients the budget sheet, it's like they run the other way, right? Because it's like the reality is right there. And they have more going out from the paper than is actually coming in. And they're like, how am I doing it from month to month, right? And so the reality is really seeing where your money is going, because a lot of people don't know. Jasmine nailed it. People go on jobs, start retirement accounts, leave a job, leave their money. Hello, right? No. Then they're sitting in front of us and it's like, I don't have any money. So you start asking these questions. Have you worked at a job that you started a retirement plan, left the job, or left the money, right? Oh, yeah. I don't care if it's $5 in that account. Go get that money, right? Go get it, because it's yours and it's not doing anything. So now when they don't have that $10,000, or they didn't think they didn't have that $10,000 or $25,000 that Jasmine's talking about, now they have that money sitting over there. They can roll the money over. Now the key word is roll over. Okay. That's the key word everybody missed. Oh, I got money. How much is it, right? And what is the procedure to roll over? They missed that part. Not cash out, not loan, because now once they know what they have, it's spent. Just like when you get your tax return, it's already spent, right? Before you even got it. So it's just becoming disciplined. That's not something that you can do overnight. That's a word that was like go over people's heads, right? But what we say is that you have to really look at where your money is going, like literally where your money is going. Are you paying for Uber every day? Are you buying lunch every day? We got to go back to old school. Bring that bag lunch. Go get, the what I'm talking about. Go fry some chicken. Go make some sandwiches. Sacrifice 6 months, 3 months. This is not the end of the world, right? And once people see that they're winning just by making a 30-day sacrifice, a 60-day sacrifice. Now it becomes a habit, right? And now you can increase. So you have to, the problem is that we have to show people how to do it. We have to give them recommendations on how to do it. Now I understand, Richard Jones, like, listen, just come, I'm ready to go. How to save a nickel on a dime, right? But it's not as it's not as simple as it sounds, because it is very difficult for people to do it because we haven't been taught to do it, right? As soon as we get money in our hand, we're ready to go spend. No, remember, you pay yourself first. You have to make yourself a priority and look at your goals and dreams, because if you don't, you will never be able to sit down with Jasmine. You will never be able to sit down with Mr. Jones. You will never get to that point. And it's that vicious cycle going round and round again. And then you wonder why you're not achieving. So it's just finding out where your needs are. Do you have to buy this month? Right. And just showing the steps to do it. But really get a budget sheet. You can go on Google, and just and print out a budget sheet and write down, what is your rent? What is your insurance? What is this? What is that? And then that little box where is, the extra spending, gotta go to Dunkin' gotta go here, gotta go there. Just like you discipline your children, you tell them not to do something. Sometimes you have to look at the mirror too. Right. And if you start, then a generation, you can teach your young ones how to do it. Then it becomes something that's common. It's not something that's strange and out of the ordinary. Oh, you got a little Ray and birthday come in, everybody, want to give them a little $5. Yeah, we can. How about you save, maybe $1 or $2, and then you go spend $2 to $3, right? You have to start there. And then that's when it becomes a habit. It becomes a norm. The problem is it's not a norm, because as soon as we get money, it's gone.
We never learned it. We never learned these things. And I know, especially in the Black community, we don't. Parents don't like to talk about money. It's they hide away from that. And so, what I've been trying to do, and just most recently, and I have adult kids as well, I said, look, I'm going to invest into you guys. I'm buying you a financial literacy course, because I'm going to teach you how to fish, basically, instead of just feeding you all the time. So you can take that knowledge, and then it'll start to teach you these habits that Shelia is talking about.
And you're right. It does start at home. And the problem is a lot of these concepts, a lot of these behaviors, as far as saving, is not taught. It's not even talked about. Thanksgiving is about to come, right? Who is going to be looking at somebody coming through that Thanksgiving, auntie's door, and says, oh, look at her, she look all nice, but she owed me $25, right? Those are the conversations that maybe not y'all, maybe not y'all.
Yeah. What do you mean maybe not y'all? This is
okay. See,
we all know what you're talking about.
Exactly, right? But here's the difference. In a wealthy home, they're talking about stocks, they're talking about bonds, they're talking about investing, they're talking about real estate. They're having different conversations around the wealthy table, right? And I'm not saying that we're rich as a culture, we're rich anyway. But when you're talking about the finances, it's to me, oh, you owe me this, she walking this. Let's change that. And just like, where do you put your money at? Just like, I love the idea that you said, I'm going to buy a financial course for your children, right? I sit down with families and we all love the babies, everybody's celebrating a 1-year-old. But have y'all seen some of these 1-year-old birthday parties? Like, they're like prime central grad, like they graduated from like grad school, with no debt, like really having a party. How about instead of buying, or even birthdays, open up an educational fund. Let's fund that. Everybody want to go fund me something. Let's put something where in an account that's really worth it. Take that $25. How about the whole family? Take $25, put it in the college educational fund for little, princess or little prince. maybe for the first year, okay? Because
Yeah,
a 1-year-old is not going to remember anything. But guess what? When that child gets and graduates from college, and now, you know, when you're looking at, we all encourage our kids to go to college, but then we send them to college broke or send them to college and getting all the student loan debt. Now they can go to college where, how will it look if you can write the check for little Ray Race first? You know,
I would definitely just add that there's another product that you guys that we should be familiar with that we often shy away from. And so if you're out there, some of these smaller premiums that she's talking about, insurance is another way that you can get in small, right? A lot of the insurance products have come a long way from when I first got my health and life insurance products, right? And then my license. So there are insurance products that have equity sides to them, right? That you can also start growing. So if you're looking at a small child and you want to get life insurance and stuff, look at those products because they accumulate a lot of equity on the side that you can also invest, right? So, and you're paying premiums, the smaller, the earlier they start. So most importantly, just know that there are tools out there, and that's the main difference is what tools and resources do you have, no matter what community you come from, and do you have access and know how to use them?
Kamar, can you tell us how can someone with limited resources begin their investment journey?
Limited resources, you got to get creative.
Mhm.
And let me explain that. So, you got to be able to create. It's different ways of creating wealth than just hoarding money and saving it. If you're creative and you have good ideas, guys like me will back you with that idea that you can make me and my shareholders some additional money, depending on if it's within the objectives of my fund. And let me give you an example. I had a young man. Well, he's not that young, but he's probably in his 30s. He presented an idea to me, and it's outside of the mining space, but a small fraction of the assets I can if it's attractive, I can make an investment there. But what his idea was, he said, I'm going to raise $10 million, and what we're going to invest into are young entrepreneurs that want to inspire to become franchise owners of McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, et cetera. And the problem is, though, is that there's net worth requirements to own a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A and all those kind of things. So, and a guy like me, I'm not putting on a chicken suit. I'm too old for that now. And so my exposure to that is maybe to get some of these younger people that are inspiring to do that, and we can put up the capital, make sure we get our capital back with the cash flows, and then have a third of the franchise profits in perpetuity. And to me, that sounds like a really good opportunity when this guy came to me, and right now he's raising money, so I didn't have to cut a check, but I did commit to a six-figure check for that because I said I looked at the numbers, the ROI, the money, we got our money back, or would project to get our money back within 2 years, so that's good, and everything else you're just playing with house money, and then this also allows some additional cash flow from a different source, and also helping young entrepreneurs that don't have the money yet but have the drive and the ambition. And so, Charles, to get back to your point, you don't have to have money to make money all the time. You have to be able to sell your ideas to other people with money, and then you can propel yourself a lot faster. Yeah, so I think that's maybe a little bit of contrarian advice, but it happens all the time.
Jasmine, what's the biggest myth about real estate investment?
The biggest what?
The biggest myth about real estate investing.
I think it's just what Mr. Jones just said right there, that you need money to get involved with it, right? So at the end of the day, you don't need money to make money. So if I can just take an opportunity, as I will always do, to represent my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she raised me to with this one phrase. She said, if you have a problem that money can solve, then you don't have a problem at all. So you got to let that thing sink in, right? I grew up here in Southern California before Silicon Valley. To age myself, but Rancho Santa Fe is probably one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America at the time. And so these people that lived next to us, they could throw their money all the day at their problems, but nothing would change, right? Think about kids getting off drugs or getting off couches, right? Money doesn't solve that. So if you have a problem that money can solve, then you need to do what Mr. Jones suggests, is get creative. So a good portion, 9 to 10% of the deals done in my community are done by people just leveraging other people's money. We call it OPM, right? And so whether you're leveraging your idea, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel either. You don't have to come up with anything new. You just have to be the one that's going to execute and get the stuff done, the one who's going to have the resources and connect them, right? So get creative, like he said, creative with yourself. Try to look for money in any previous jobs that you haven't spent. Get creative with the people around you, right? Find a good idea. It doesn't have to be a new idea. In our community, I teach people just to find deals. A lot of people have more time than money. A lot of people have more money than time. So go out there and surround yourself by those people, right? If you have the mindset and the capacity to put a deal together, then it's going to be out there. You put that deal together and bring it to the people who don't have time to put the deals together. Next thing you have funding, right? So that's how I started my business. I put together a deal. So, I must have been like 28. Took myself to one of these big, stadiums full of people for this, these big financial summits where everyone's running around. And if you notice, in all those seminars you go to, there's always a few people on the perimeters by the door, because those are skeptics, and they don't want to get too close. They're not sitting up in the front, but they're always by the door. Those are guys you need to show your business plan to, period, point blank. Just show your strength. Why? Because they're there because they're interested, but they don't want to buy anything anyone's selling, right? So you go to them. They're skeptical of the guys on the stage. They want a real plan. And so that's how I started my business. I went to one of these big events. I was about 28, had a whole binder together with a plan on real estate. Okay, nothing new. I just didn't want to do what my mom did, and ran into some guy. $250,000 later, I've been on my way ever since, right? And so $0, woman from the Bronx, grew up in a mobile home. I don't want to hear it, but the one thing I can tell you is that everyone here is bringing something. If you look at this, I don't know how it's looking for you guys, but from my view, you start with Shelia. She's talking about budgets, how to get some money. She'll help you find these money. Like we all agree that you can use retirement money, right? You find that money, you get started. Then you can start working with someone like me that's going to get you to that accredited investor phase. Once you understand that, what it means, getting private equity, then you can start diversifying with funds like Mr. Jones here, who's going to be able to 3X, right, and take you a little longer. But it's a process, it's a path, dare I say, it's circular.
Yeah.
Shelia, can you tell us why is financial planning especially important for marginalized communities?
Oh, man.
I had like 10 thoughts all at one time. Okay, ask me that one more time so I can just choose the right answer, because, oh, man.
Why is financial planning especially important for marginalized communities?
Why is it important? So my answer, well, first of all, if money doesn't grow on trees, right? And we all need help somewhere, right? And there's so many ideas and so many ideas that people want to get involved with, and they just don't have the funding at all, period. Right. And just like, Kamar, I hope I'm saying your name right, and Jasmine said is, you don't need money to start, but it's the idea. You are it. Right. So once you figure out exactly what you want to do, I feel like the money is going to come to you anyway. Right.
He's right.
It's going to come to you anyway. The problem is that we don't manage it the right way to execute the original idea. And then that's where the shortfall comes in at. So when you have the support, like you have on this panel, to help you'll be able to now take that idea and you be able to maximize that, but not for yourself. You can't hold that information in by yourself and think that you're going to find success. You have to be the one to be of service and be able to ask those questions, get involved, make friends, talk to people, make it a norm, right? Because if you don't find that way, then no one else is going to find. I hope I answered that question that way, because I had a lot of thoughts, but I wanted to just kind of, I didn't want to be abstract about it. I just wanted to be right in the midst of what everybody is saying and coming from that question too.
Charles, I want to just add to what Sheila said. Why is this important? Uh, uh, Black people in America make something like $2 trillion or spend $2 trillion. That is larger than most countries out there. I think it's ranked 8th or 9th, something like that, ahead of Canada or something like that. And so without financial literacy, most of that money is going to go into consumption, which I think Sheila had mentioned, these ridiculous birthday parties, trying to, like I said on the last show, trying to impress people that don't even like you, throwing these crazy parties of money you don't even have. It's ridiculous. The baby showers have gotten ridiculous. These sweet these parties, the weddings and everything else that people really can't do. And one of the things I wanted to mention, it is the holiday season. And one of the things me and my family do, instead of these ridiculous gifts that you don't even remember, can anybody tell you, can you remember what you got for Christmas 3 years ago? Probably not. And so what we decided to do is go on trips to make memories. And you'll spend even a lot less, believe it or not. And it'll be something that you can remember for the rest of your life. And the kids will remember it as well.
Wow. So in just thinking about, the holidays, because that's more the important you can imagine, where you got Thanksgiving, then you have Christmas, but they started advertising this in July. So with that being said, because I mean, it's amazing that this is happening, because this is a total change.
Mm-hmm.
But so instead of people going out and really spending this money on holidays, what are some tips or suggestions that you guys could give them to not just save this money, but how they could use this money in the many ways that the three of you in the professions that you're in could actually help them to move this money along?
So this, here's what I say. You have to plan in advance. So even right now, to your question, families can plan for next year's Christmas or Thanksgiving, right? Where are we going to go? Where we going? I love the idea that you said we get together. The family gets together. They can rent an Airbnb house. Get everybody under the house, where Big Mama, everybody, you got memories. That's more. That's rich, right? That's rich. That's memorable. So again, is what is your priority? You can have everything you really want. You can have everything you want in life. You just have to plan for it. So when school starts, I think I start seeing Christmas stuff around school starting right in the summertime. That might be an indication that maybe you might want to start putting some money aside if you're that one that want to, buy the whole thing. My son's birthday was yesterday. Okay, he just turned 20 years old on the 20th. Okay, I'm just still blown away by that. We had conversations. The reason why we got iPhones is because he started talking about iPhones, right? And then I said, well, this was years ago. How am I gonna give you an iPhone? I'm the one paying bills, and you just going to school, right? Now he's like, Mom, I need a new iPhone. You know how much the new iPhones cost, right? He told me that 4 weeks ago. Oh, I supposed to just kick out like $2,000 for a phone, right? Advance those priorities. What's a priority? Would you want this 2,000 on this phone, or would you want this 2,000 in your account, or towards this?
Buy the stock.
Right. All types of you can. How can you make your money work harder for you than you working harder for it? Let's start there.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, planning holidays, and you can have a big old Christmas. Listen, I lost my mother 6 years ago at the end of October. Okay, from that Thanksgiving and that Christmas was the hardest holiday. Like, it was horrible. So at that moment, I said to my son, and I don't like to travel around the holidays. locally with family. Okay, but I like to travel. I like to go out the country, get on a plane, go over some water, get out of this off this USA of land. Okay. So, but I never thought to travel during the holidays, right? And I said, I told my son, I said, from this point forth, I said, we're not going to celebrate the holidays. Well, Thanksgiving we have to because he's in school, but for Christmas and New Year's, we're going to be in a whole nother country, period. Right? Now, I didn't wait until November to make that decision to go that year. It planned then. I knew before the end of the year where we were going to go that time next year. And guess what? And it just kept happening. Every time we went to another country, we were in another country. And I was already plotting on we're going to this country this time next year. Planning. Now, we didn't buy no gifts. You know where our gifts was on that trip. we're gonna, if we're gonna be, missing our loved ones, we're gonna do it on some paradise. That's what we're gonna do, right? But that was planning. And yes, it's very expensive to travel around the holidays, right? But I planned in advance. So when we got there, it didn't hit me like a ton of bricks. It's just preparation. You can have everything you want. You just have to plan in advance. Give yourself a year out. And then again, what you do and you see how it's done, it becomes a habit. Then you're at your place and then you're preparing. So go back to Mr. Jones, when you instead of doing all of that, plan ahead. How can it benefit you? Is it a need or is it a want? I'm trying to tell you, is it a need or a want? My son, I'm mommy. Mommy is here to take care of your needs. Grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, godmommy, that's needs. That's wants. I'm need, that's wants. Okay. You have to make that distinguish in your household. If it starts with one person, your grandmother, Jasmine, what does she tell you that doesn't benefit you now? Guess where she heard that information? At home. The problem is too many people don't listen. Right? Nobody listening until it's too late. And then they want you to pull a rabbit out of a hat and, blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen, some people got to hit rock bottom before they really ears open. Just listen. And you have to be careful who you listen to. You can't listen to everybody. Okay, because cousin Ray can't tell me no advice on finances when he just asked me to borrow $20 5 minutes ago. Come on, let's be realistic. Okay, you have to really be in that environment. Talk to people. I love to see our people in professional positions such as yourself. My son as a single mom, it was so important for me to have my son around you, Charles, around you, Mr. Jones, because I needed him to see what it looks like in a professional world, because what are you going to teach my son that's not going to help him as an adult? Right? No, you don't need to be on the corners. You don't need it now. Again, I'm just in the community. But again, we have that aunt, we have that uncle, we have that cousin that's telling you something about your money, but you just don't want to
listen.
Yeah. Well, Jasmine, can you tell us how can someone start in real estate with just a little capital? I know you said some iterings about this before, but if we're talking about just a pure money perspective, how can they actually start an investment in real estate that way?
Well, I would say if you're really just talking about hard real estate and you have minimum money, the best opportunities are going to be outside of the four corners, right? So if you need to invest out of state, one of my models in my in the early 30s was invest where you want and live where it's smart. Okay. Live where you want and invest where it's smart. Let me clean that up. So that's why I live in Southern California, San Diego. Clearly, I want to live here, right? In order for me to sustain this lifestyle, I have to invest where it's smart. And many times it's not in my backyard because it's quite a bit of capital. So I suffer with that same problem myself. I'm not always willing to invest in Southern California because of the capital it requires. But what you'll find is I have a lot of holdings in areas, Alabama, North Carolina. So there are a lot of areas, and they've subsequently gotten more expensive, but you'll be surprised. There are also a lot of still rural areas out there. Not everything is blown up. So one of the benefits that we have as a culture, okay, and once I learned this, it made me so much money from the private equity side, is that We are in those spaces. Okay, historically speaking, we're in these neighborhoods that have to be gentrified, right? Hence that term. And they want these places. If you think about Vallejo, California, if you've ever been, it's right on the water. If you think about Gary, Indiana, if you've ever been, it's right on the water. So they're coming for these places, right? And so these are places that are still very much so undervalued. And so if you have family members there, right, which we often do, we're in these places. We're in those backwoods of Alabama, right? If you know that this is a place that people are going to have their eyes on, start looking at from that perspective, you can start investing in there ahead of the curve, right? And still get in their value and have your family behind you to help you with it. So it doesn't always have to be, I need to raise $1 million or $500,000, 50, right? Get your first rental. You know, when you go home and they make you go to the backwoods of Texas, a lot of us, a little backwoods of Georgia, wherever you're headed to, look, don't just hang out in the backyard. Go look for real estate. There are very inexpensive things. And just to wrap this up, I have a member of my community who did a similar thing. And just to show you again, anything's possible. It was in California, okay? She and her family, her husband's from a small area up in Northern California. She went up there and found someone selling something for sale by owner of $35,000. Okay, so in California, now was it by the coast? No. But imagine getting your first investment. People tell you can't invest in California without millions. That was $35,000 for sale by owner. Now she has a rental. So get out the box, get out of the cell phone, right? And when you are blessed to be traveling, whether it's an exotic place or not, know that you're there for a reason. Believe in serendipity and start looking around, because a lot of your opportunities just might be in front of your face and you're just too busy, again, on your phone, right? Going out for those long walks after your Thanksgiving dinner. Hey, if you're going to be out there walking, then start looking at some property. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Jasmine, fire. She said, get off your phone. Say it again.
A while ago, that is, I know that a lot of people used to get into, doing the flips that way. But is that process still the same, or has that changed?
Look, that process is always going to be the same. It's really simple remedial math. You got to buy low and sell high. This is the basics. That's one of the beautiful things about investing, right? That fundamental is going to be the same in any of our spaces. So what I want you to know is that what you're asking about is an economic perspective, right? So figure out where you're going. Go down to the city. When I was younger, I loved going down to the city hall, find out if the city has. Simple question you can ask the city. What are your 5 and 10 year projection plans? A lot of pennies will say, we don't have any. Okay, well, then guess what? You're not investing there. Real simple. They don't have a plan. Okay. First thing, if you find a city that has a 10-year or 5-year plan, be very impressed when someone says they have a 5-year plan. That means they probably have money coming down the pipeline. That's your first thing that why you want to invest in somewhere. Okay. I made so much money being ahead of the curve, investing in Detroit, Indianapolis, Alabama, right? Well before homes became 300,000. Once they do, I'm selling to these people. But it's all about economics. So this is where that other skill set comes in. If you're not someone that can look at some of these leading and lagging indicators, then associate yourself with someone, right? Get yourself, become part of a club. But again, it's just about opening your eyes, right? A lot of this I'm saying sounds sophisticated, but we've seen it before. Okay, if you are 35 and over, you've seen it. You've seen Swats Atlanta turn into what it is today. Okay, you've seen Newark, Newark, right? You've seen turn into what it is today. Somewhere in your lifetime, and I'm going all the way across the country, you've seen, right, what has happened to Dumbo, New York. You've seen them come in and transfer, right? And so just start thinking about what God has exposed you to and then putting on a different lens, because it's all about abundance mindset. That's all I can tell you. If you think that you're surrounded by money, then you will be surrounded by money. If you think that you're not surrounded by money, then you ain't going to see any, right? All right.
Mindset.
Yeah, it is. It is a mindset. Because I can't. Yo, then you won't. It's hard. Then it is.
I like how Jazz said North.
Now just to represent who I really did stop.
I'm from Philadelphia originally.
So am I. I'm from Philly as well. That's why I laugh when you said that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to talk after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Birds.
Yes, please. Yes, go Birds.
Kamar, what are the biggest misconceptions about investing that you encounter?
That it takes money to do it. That you got to have your own. That you got to always have to use your own money. That you have to be smart. That you have to be what else? Smart, have your own money, and that that it's always risky. To me, what's risky, let me just break it down. Let's say you've got this 5% investment. Inflation right now is what, at about 3.5%, 3% roughly, and I think we've seen the last days of 1% and 2% inflation. So if you're earning 5%, and you got 3% inflation, you're now down to 2%, and then you have to pay taxes on interest. So now you're losing money, and so the biggest risk is not investing, because if you don't, you're not going to make any money. So you have to have that money work for you. And pensions are not available anymore, Charles, many times. So when you retire, you don't have that pension like my parents have, a military retirement, or people work for a company for 30, 40 years and can retire. Those things aren't going to work over the next 20, 30 years anymore. And so those are some of the myths. Again, it's too risky to invest. I need my own money. We've talked about that already. And that I have to be smart, because you can leverage other people that are smart to help you with that. People like Shelia.
Mm-hmm. Well,
people like me, people come to me to get exposure to a sector that's very unknown and sophisticated. Because I spent 20 years as a consultant, 8 years in capital markets before that, and I've got good connections in the ecosystem to invest into like a syndicate type of situation. And so I'm plugged into a lot of deals that everybody can't get to. And so that allows me to expose other people to that, those opportunities. So those will be my three right there.
Shelia, what are the most common mistakes that people make in their holiday spending? I know that we talked about, people with the parties and so forth, but I mean, what about this spending of like buying all these meals that are like so huge, and you only eat off them 2 days, but all the food is left? Like, what are some of those things that they're doing that people probably need to really cut down on?
The most.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Everything. You'd be so I want to say you'd be surprised, but I'm not surprised. With my clients, and I joke, but this is a true statement. Just like your people, I know my clients, okay? They my peoples, okay? And certain clients, when the holiday gets around, they get real weird, I'll just say. I don't want to call them, they do stuff, right? And then what happens is that they so caught up in the hoorah of buying the latest this and buying the latest that, because it's an image thing sometimes, that their responsibility get put on a back burner. Life insurance doesn't get paid, or I could skip a month, I won't pay the light bill this month, and then January it doubles up, and think, oh, I want to invest this month, So with certain my clients, I say, listen, because I don't want to make anybody feel bad. Okay, if you're paying your insurance, that's fine. You got to do that. That's a necessity, because unfortunately around the holidays, that's more tragic things happen. That's right. Around the holidays. Okay. So you want to be covered and prepared. That's, again, priorities, needs and wants, right? But I'll say to them, okay, granted, you want to have that big old dinner, it's your year, it's your time to have that big Christmas dinner for the whole family, right? It's going to cost you a lot of money. And now with today's prices, I don't even think people can even throw those big old parties that they used to have, right? But that's another story. So, maybe I have certain clients. I say, listen, November, December, maybe you may not contribute to your, your emergency fund. or, maybe even, the emergency fund for these 2 months and pick it back up in January. Right. And then they say, okay, it feel a little easier. Certain clients like, nope, I'm still contributing to this. I'm still contributing to my Roth IRA. I'm still, doing everything I got to do. Great. But I know some of my clients, I don't want you to, we can take a 30-day, 60-day pause and resume back in January. So what I say to people is, again, you have to know what your priorities are. You have to, because you can blow all your money right now and then you be homeless the next month. What sense does that make? Right? If your roof over your head is more important than trying to impress a family member that you make the best potato salad. You know what I mean? And you going out here, it's just priority. You have to prioritize, and again, planning. You can have all what you have, but you have to plan for it. You have to budget. You have to plan. So what I say to people is that the world is not going to stop because you couldn't provide the big old dinner, right? Maybe this year have people bring a dish in. You might have to, assign certain dishes for certain people, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But realistically, let's talk about it, right? You can still have the things you have. You may do it differently this year. It's not the end of the world. Everybody's still breathing. You have to look at what's more important, right? Do you have to buy your child this, I don't know, whatever, the latest game console?
They do that to impress. They do that to impress other people. These kids ain't asking for half of this stuff.
But what is that going to do? That's going to make you halfway homeless, right? You still going to call mommy, daddy, sister, brother, can I borrow, $250 until next week so I can pay my light bill? Now your family feeling guilty because you done gave them the guilt trip. I'm about to get evicted because
not me. No, not me. You're out there trying to impress people and be on Facebook or whatever showing off. You gotta pay for that irresponsibility. And that's, I think, Sheila, that's one of the things that we have to start doing. And that's what I said. I'm gonna give money, invest into you to give you some financial literacy, because then there's no excuses anymore. Mm-hmm. If you want to be irresponsible out there, that's the problem. We always trying to save everybody. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about.
And you're gonna get broke doing that.
Exactly.
But so just think about this, as you mentioned, about prices and so forth. Prices now are just astronomical. I actually went to Publix, right? And I wanted to get a little small pack of sirloin beef to make tacos, right? I mean, small pack. The small pack was $19, right? Now, with everything happening, as you mentioned, and because prices is something that's real. Mm-hmm. And when you think about everything has gone up like a whole 8%.
Meat is up 14%, by the way, statistically. Meats like that is up 14% collectively across the country.
My goodness.
And so when you think about that, the affordability of people actually having the opportunity to eat, when people having the opportunity to have to eat, and then on top of that, having to provide a living space.
Yes. How
can they do that with prices being like they are? But then also for those that are just late to the party, because got to go back to the earlier conversation. A lot of us have seen this movie before. Mm-hmm. And so in seeing the movie, maybe we haven't prepared, but now we want to prepare. Mm-hmm. So now that we're paying all of this skyrocketed price for everything, mm-hmm. How is it that people can manage to actually try to put something aside to live on?
Priorities. Period. I mean, listen, if you don't do it, your bank account is going to make you. Period. I mean, at some point, you can't be that foolish to not really say, wait a minute, take a step back. It's just like when you hit rock bottom. If you ain't hit it hard enough, then you ain't hit it. And why even gamble to that part to that point in today's time. So many people are so scared to do things right now because we're living in the unknown. We really are. And it's real critical right now that we really listen, I wish and I'm hoping and I'll say I pray because I want people to really start looking at life for what it really is and really not, you can't spend money like we did last year. Okay. Because this year is a total, we're living in a different life right now, and people they were hurting living from paycheck to paycheck before. There's no way you can't even. People are really in times they can't even put food on their table, let alone want to go ahead and start splurging. Why? How can you even do that? Why would you put yourself in that position that way, and then you still want to move and you want to buy a home? You can't. Reallocating your money, really just sitting back and having that tough conversation with the woman, man in the mirror, and really looking at what is your future plans? How can we do this? And hold on to what you have. You can't just throw money in the air and make it rain like it's going to come back. We don't know. We really don't know.
And so if I would just add this, if you're really getting down to brass tacks, asking about how you're going to afford groceries, right? That's a different conversation as far as I'm concerned, and it's a real one, right? And so for those type of resources, definitely know that they do have, and you're going to need, it's going to get a lot, for those of us who are following the economy, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, right? So if that's a serious concern, definitely look out for those resources. Something that we all know from Mother Teresa is that look for the helpers, right? So right now, as pantries and those EBT things are shaky, there are other programs out there. So I encourage you to get to your churches. I encourage you to go look online and look these things up. A lot of people didn't even know there's such thing as mortgage assistance programs, right? So before I, who own your note, foreclose on someone, I will go and help them go to a mortgage assistance program. Maybe they get assistance. So knowledge is a key. And one of the things that separates us all is access to that knowledge to keep certain information from us. So you will be surprised how much money is out there to help people in times of need. It's not a secret that they're going to be people in need. So definitely, if it comes down and you're asking people how do they afford food, definitely look out there and go to these pantries and go out there and look for those helpers, please. And so I just want to leave that with you. I definitely have a plane to catch. I have a short time limit here with you, but if you are in that sense of, I just want to say it's a different conversation, and we definitely want to take that seriously. So please reach out to those resources.
Have a safe travel, Jazz. I'm in the airport now, and actually I got delayed. So I understand.
Well, on the move, aren't we?
Yep.
Safe travels to the boat.
I mean, so if that doesn't tell you anything, keep the dust off your shoulders, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Yeah. So I think she's definitely right. Again, the community, go back into the community, ask for help. I mean, if it's, and some people prideful, that's on you. You'll figure it out. And then one thing I will say about our people, we'll figure it out. We're gonna figure it out.
Because I'll just tell you, I think just for that one perspective, and it's not just that one, but that one in particular, I will say I knew that prices was rising, but that kind of like caught me way off guard. That wasn't even a pound of meat. That wasn't even a quarter of a pound of meat, and it was $20. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, if we're doing this, and we know that these unofficial things that are happening with other countries where, they're throwing these tariffs on them and so forth. Well, those countries aren't really paying for the tariffs. That's what the people are paying for. So if the people are paying that, and we know that we've got folks that are really that have already been struggling and so forth. And I know, like, we can try to help people to budget, and we can try to help people to learn to be disciplined and control spending. But just in that whole process, and we think about this time right now, what are the odds, or what is going to be the best way? Because I don't know one, which is why I'm really asking. What is the best way for people to really try to put that foot down and make a difference for themselves going forward? How can that really work?
I want
You
to
gotta make a decision.
real quick. I was going to make a comment because I was writing a book on this, and it's completely different than what I'm doing, and I call it the 7 steps to success. And sometimes and I haven't followed the 7 steps to success fully, but the first thing you want to do is you want to get either a trade or an education of some sort, either college degree or trade. That way you can support yourself. Once you do that, then you go and get some type of career, not a job, a career of some sort, whether it be. Then you want to date and get married, or you dating during that time. Come on, but then you get married. Then you had them kids. Then once you do that, then you start investing, like Shelia said, really getting a financial plan in place once you have a family like that. And then the 6th one, don't get divorced.
Well, I'm sorry.
Don't get divorced.
Oh my gosh.
And then finally, leave a legacy. If you do those 7 steps, I know it's fun, but I'm serious.
I don't even want to laugh at you, but you know that's funny, right?
I'm serious. I'm dead serious, because if you do those 7 things in that order, you're probably not worried about paying for groceries. You're probably not. And I've looked at and studied, I've done research on that. Now, I've gotten divorced before. It was a big setback. Some people may have children first, and that's a big setback, right? Or if you start doing those things. So that's what I'm telling people. You want to increase your chances of success where you're not worried about going shopping at the grocery store. If you do those things in that order, your chances are extremely high as far as not having to worry about those things. It's not easy. It takes discipline and everything else. But I was going to put out a book about that and have it backed by statistics and facts as well. But again, people shouldn't feel bad that you didn't do it. I haven't done it. Most people don't. But the people that do, that have seen, are usually not, are pretty well off.
I want to piggyback off of your number one. Your number one. I am. I'm all about multiple streams of income. And I also believe in getting as many credentials under your belt as possible, because you never know. You never know. Okay. If you have the opportunity to get your CDL, get it. If you have the opportunity to get your insurance license, get it. If you have the opportunity to get your electrician or carpenter or a trade, all that, get it. Right. You don't have to do them all at the same time. But at some point, if you need to get in a commercial vehicle, you have the credentials to do it. If you have, your carpenter, I don't even, the certification, somebody always needs something done in the house. Somebody, you want to put yourself in a position where you're not just one source, right? You're limited. Yep. And so, yes, it does come to now, to piggyback off what he said too, and going on to your meat here, right? If you have that multiple streams, or have a way where maybe it's not doing so good in this industry, but I have my credentials to do this, that, and other. You just never want to put yourself in a position where you can't eat. You can't eat, right? So even with young people, they in college, they getting these degrees, it's okay to get something else, a certification, right? I'm dealing with, a couple of young college students now, second year of college, they interested in getting their financial licenses. Yes, because whatever it is that you want to do in life, if you don't know how money works, why people broke, because they don't know how money works. And then you may hire somebody that knows how to manage your money, but you don't even know if they're doing you good or doing you bad, right? It's okay. Seriously. And this is the conversation I have with young people. Don't put me in front of your child and don't expect me to talk to them like I'm talking to my own child. You can do and be whatever you want to be in this world, right? But I'm on entrepreneurship. How can you own it? How can you own what you love to do? Right? Oh, I want to be a ball player. Fine. Okay. I want to be a dentist. I want to be a lawyer. Great. Have you ever thought about opening your own practice? Right? And giving other people the opportunity where now you have passive income coming in, whether you right there. Not as good to be self-employed, but I want to show you how to be a business owner. How can you establish something where systems can work and generate you passive income while you over here starting something else? Right? Because that's what the wealthy people do. Wealthy people are wealthy because they have multiple streams of income. They don't have to worry about money. They don't have to worry about that meat. They don't, we get the wealthy people say they order from the left side of the menu, not the right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You look at
those appetizers.
You look at them prices first, and then you're like, oh, that looks good. How much is it? Left to right. They go from, we go from right to
Some
left.
Restaurants don't even have the prices on the food.
Okay. You have that capability. Anyone who's listening to this have the capability of not being concerned about how much something costs. Right. And not saying in today's time, we have to worry about things costing, because even if you have the money, wealthy people is not going to pay. They got a problem too. They got questions. Why is this meat? I paid that because there are some stingy wealthy people. Why are they stingy? Because that's why they're wealthy. Right. They don't, you have all types of people and all different types of income brackets that some do the right thing with their money. Some people do the wrong thing with their money. But you as an individual, if you position yourself to have multiple streams of income, then you should always be able to at least eat, and maybe you might have to switch and not buy the beef and maybe settle for some chicken wings or something.
Chicken's expensive too. Chicken is expensive.
It is. Listen. Well, even Thanksgiving, I said we might not be able to buy a turkey, but you can get some turkey wings and make it happen, right? Yeah. What is Thanksgiving? What is really Thanksgiving? We're grateful and thankful for the food that we have here, not because we got the biggest turkey, right? So you just have to really make lemonade out of lemons, and it can happen. But the number 7, that was funny to me. Number 1, yes, all his steps, it was dead on. But don't limit yourself to education. Don't limit yourself to making more money. Don't limit yourself to credentials. If you can get somewhere where somebody can help you get a credential, get it. Why? Because even when you on your resume, it's outstanding. You position yourself to even get more income because of what you have on your resume, right? Some people can't even go to college. They can't afford to go to college. That don't mean you can't get the trade. Exactly. That don't mean you can't, get into this industry. What happened if Mr. Jones here has somebody, you got a young person that's watching you and say, oh, I want to get into that. He can be an apprentice. Learn, ask, look his name up, ask questions. The problem is these young people think all this stuff fall in their lap. If you don't get up on that phone and go search somebody who's doing something right and become their friend, get a pen pal. People have too many excuses on why they can't do certain things. It's because they expect everything to fall in their lap, and you can keep sitting there.
Right.
But the go-getters is going to make it happen.
Okay, this question is for both of y'all, but I'm going to start with you, Kamar. Can you tell us, how do you make investing accessible to marginalized and LGBTQ communities?
Through education. Education and learning, again, financial literacy, because there's different levels to investing. And when you're first starting out, you can't start out in a PPI capital. More than likely, because you have to be an accredited investor. But you can build up to that by learning different other investment vehicles that can get you to that point. Or like Sheila said, having multiple streams of income and building that will get you there very quickly, because you'll start to have disposable income and making the money that qualifies you for that. And so it's all about just learning as much as you can, talking to other people that know more than you, because I talk to people all the time. I have mentors. I talk to people that know more than me about certain things. And then you have to start to learn how to build teams that can help you get to a certain level. And that's difficult for a lot of people, especially if you can do things well, because you don't want to let go, and people want to have so much control over everything. And once you start doing that, you'll start to see that that opportunities will be all over the place.
Shelia?
Yes. I mean, he nailed it. He said it right there. Education. Ask. You have to. You can't. Everybody wants to do everything on their own. You're gonna burn out, right? And I use examples like I say all the time. Bill Gates. He didn't become a billionaire and who what he established by himself. He developed a team. He asked people. He found people that were experienced in that particular position. So you need a team of people. You want a team of people. You want to get in that environment. Heck, call me. I don't care if that doesn't mean anything to me. You're a human, because again, we all are going through the same trials and tribulations. We're still all going through the financial struggles. We're still trying to find a way to increase our income. We're still trying to find a way to make it in this world today. You can be green, yellow, blue, purple, man, woman. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. What does matter is that unfortunately, there are people who don't feel comfortable asking for help for whatever reason.
You better get comfortable.
Yeah. And for those people, guess what? You're not alone, but closed mouths don't get fed. And at some point, if you're not fed up now, you're going to get fed up. And don't wait until you like 2 seconds from falling off of a ledge and there's nobody. Ask for help. Ask for help. You listen, you don't even have to talk to people nowadays. You can send them messages and they don't even know what you sound like, look like, or whatever. Just send a message. But in the community, it is very important that's why it's very important that we have more people in our community who care and that's willing to be of service, because there's so many people that look like me and you that are scared, are nervous because maybe of their lifestyle, because the way they look, and again, that's been like that for years. It didn't just start in 2000. It didn't just start in 2025. Okay, it's been like that forever, if I can really say that. But look how much we have accomplished. We have people that step out the box. So if you're afraid because of the way you look or because of your lifestyle, I'm here to tell you, you need to. Your bank account should be more. You should be more afraid of your bank account than what you're looking at. Okay, so let's start there, because green is green, no matter who you are, and planning something for your future. That's so important. That's very, very important. So, Charles, you created a platform for those type of people. So if they feel like they need that, they're ashamed or they have questions, by all means, this, to me, I feel like this is the platform that you created so they don't have to feel that way. We're not here to close the door because of your lifestyle. Hell, if your lifestyle, my thing is financial lifestyle. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because we don't need you in Publix looking at a little small pack of $19 for some beef. Okay.
You know what? Now, that time I will tell you, that was where I will tell you I dropped the ball, because that don't normally happen. But when I went there, and I went like, what? You gotta be kidding me. So I'm like, I say, okay, well, I knew about the times. I'm like, see, now that's where I dropped the ball.
Yes.
And
but it's not your fault. And why should you have to pay $20 for a small meat? I mean, it's just the principle behind it. Really. I mean, it's not that you couldn't afford it. It's just the fact that does this really make this math ain't mathing, when it's coming time. This is what you're getting. But again, that's the way times is. But if you felt that way, guess how many other people feel that way? Guess how many people who can't even put that on their table,
right,
for Thanksgiving or that birthday dinner. So those are the people that we need to talk to. Those are the people that we need to change that, and so they don't have to feel that way. And if you don't open your mouth, then you will never get help. So hey, we're here.
And so this next question here. So how can families balance joy and celebration with financial responsibility?
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
go
you
ahead.
said, yeah, sure. So you're saying how should family enjoy financial responsibility?
How can
Is
they
that the
balance joy and celebration with financial responsibility?
I would try to tie it together. I mean, there's no joy in cutting a good deal. I mean, I feel pretty good, um, having conversations about certain things where you can, uh, translate it into making money because people feel good when they're able to achieve for themselves. And so, if you're in a family and someone says, "Hey, I'm thinking about I started a new job and I got this 401k plan and I did like you told me to do. I put 10% of my salary in it, and man, it's grown a lot more than I thought. I wish I'd have put more in it. So, um, like anything, I think you got to make it fun, Charles. Everybody thinks finance is boring, and it is. But talk about the stuff that you can do with the finance, what it can enable you to be able to do to go on this nice vacation that Sheila was talking about that I like to do. I like to travel a lot. And or I was able to go to this nice restaurant and enjoy that experience, or um, go to some kind of driving school or something, just something that you enjoy that these resources allow you to get to, because it's not really about money, it's about the comforts that it can provide you, the not having to stress out over paying light bills and car notes and everything else, being able to do things that you want to do. That's what you should focus the conversation on, or as the carrot, and then the means is these things that you need to do to get there. You want to be this way, that's what I tell you. You want to be successful in life, quote unquote successful, do these 7 steps. I'm telling you, it's cornball as it sounds and everything else, but look at the statistics. And statistically, I can't deny the statistics and the facts.
Um, Julia.
Yeah. I what I was thinking of is, we get together, families get together all the time, right? We can celebrate, we can sing songs, right? We can do all fellowship. So, why not take one of those meetings and together, think of a way where we can enhance our finances as a family. Right, because too many times, you'll have one family member that's got all the money in the bank, and then you have another family member who's kind of struggling, or another family member who's trying to figure it all out, right? But when you talk about joy and love, and just bringing the family together, we have to take it back to the old times. I think we stepped away from traditions a lot, and what really brought us as a family together even during the hard times, right? You hear stories of our aunties and our aunties and older cousins where they didn't even know they was poor because they were so happy, right? They didn't even know they were they didn't know that they was poor, because again, it was like everybody was happy, everybody was loved, everybody, and times has changed. Okay, at times has definitely changed. A lot of our elders are no longer here, but again, it takes the responsibility of you. What brings your household joy, right? And then if you know someone is struggling, can you give that solid advice and say, hey, listen, instead of having that little, instead of you out here, splurging every weekend, right?
Awesome.
You
Awesome.
know,
Yeah.
just listen to auntie. Okay, how about this weekend? You take, just give those subtle advice to how people can save, and have those conversations. Let people know your struggle,
That's
right?
it. That's it. That's it, Sheila. The struggle. Remember, you said they happy, didn't know it. That's because the parents was sheltering them away from the struggle. But if you ask those grandparents and everything, if you were to go into a time warp, they'd say,
Mhm.
"Man, this is man, this is bad. I am not happy. These kids, I'm sheltering them from it. They don't know any better because that's what parents do, is protect the kids. But usually you can have those conversations when you get older. I had that with my dad. Dad, how'd you do it?
It's tough. It's
You
tough.
know,
But I think the older we get, and as life changed, and how things have materialized in a negative way, a lot of times, is that we still have to just have those conversations. We really, because at some, here's the problem: we don't talk to our children like they're younger. Let me say this right.
Shelter.
Yes. Okay. It's one thing. Yes. Every child don't need to know all adult business. Okay. But if you don't teach, listen, 18 years, I had this is probably my own philosophy. I believe that every parent has 18 years to teach their children about life and prepare them for life. Not to say when they turn 18, they know it all, but your child should know, if you, and every household is not the same. So, I'm not, trying to step on anybody's household because, life is life and life be real. But when you talk about joy and pain and the holidays and finances, I think we need to be honest with our children and say, listen, times are a little tough right now. This is what we have to do. If you talk and communicate with your children in an effective way where you don't blame them like they feel like they the cause of, I'm struggling, but have that candid conversation and say, what, maybe this weekend we might not be able to do it, but we'll make arrangements. We'll figure it out together. Children, kids, and families, they'll know. And if you start teaching them to undo the mistakes that you went through, then you're investing in your children in the right way. So instead of them, they'll know how to manage their money. They'll understand, okay, we're going to do this time. You have to just communicate. You really do. And then come up with a formula, come up with something where now you can make this a tradition financially. We have to be very creative. We come up with all these games. You're going to see all this all over social media. Everybody get together, everybody having fun and playing games. And that's good, right? That's what we need more of. We need more happiness and if somebody is struggling, please speak up. Speak up because you can change that.
Kamar, can you tell us, can small investments really make a difference in long-term wealth building?
Absolutely. Because again, the 7 steps that I talked about, and again, it's not applicable to PPI Capital, but not everybody's going to be, a Michael Dell or Bill Gates or any of these kind of folks and come up with solving a major problem like that. So it takes, most millionaires are made in the way you just said, and what Shelia probably advised people to do is they're doing little percentages or small percentages of their money is going into something month after month, year after year, decade after decade. And after a while, even not making a whole lot of money, you can become a millionaire. I know there's another guy out there, John O'Brien. He's got some strategies on how to do it, and he talks about it. I had the opportunity to meet him and talk to him a little bit, but he talks about that too, owning a home and all these other things. So you got to start somewhere a lot of times, and not everybody's creative enough or may have the connections or network to go out and raise a bunch of money and start a business or have family connections at Ivy League and everything else. And I'm not one of those people, by the way, to be able to do that when they're in their 20s. And so, yes, you can be successful. It can work. It just takes discipline and it takes time.
Shelia,
Patience too.
What role does credit play in financial planning, and how can people protect it?
Well, credit comes from debt, right? Credit score comes from debt. With and managing money. Again, it's all full circle. I get clients. I'll get calls. Hey, I need to get my credit score up. It's low. I got all this debt. I got creditors calling. Blah blah. Okay, let's look. Let's give your finances a little health analysis. Let's look at where to get. What is your debt? What is going out? What are you paying? And then once you see all of that, and you understand where your debt is, and then we talk about debt elimination, how to eliminate the debt quickly. So is a debt stacking, I'll say, process that I walk my clients through, right? Right now, all the debt, how much they're paying, interest rate, blah blah blah. And the goal ultimately is to eliminate the smallest debt, take that payment added to the next, it just kind of like do a domino effect to the point where it's no new money. You're just reallocating the money that's going out and increasing the payment. So over time, you can say, okay, because again, people don't know when they're going to be debt free. That's a question I ask. When are you going to become debt free? They're like, what? That's the age, that's the time frame. It can be, right? But let's see where you at. So you can't even and I'm not a credit advisor, like, they have their own process. But what I will say is no way that your credit score is going to improve if it stems from the debt. And unless you have a debt elimination plan with someone like myself, can sit down and we can look at things and give you the game plan and discipline, right? You have to have the discipline, because what happens is they'll free up that credit card. They've been paying probably $100 a month. Now it's like, oh, I got an extra $100 a month to blow. Now you're back in more debt. Your credit ain't going nowhere. It's going to lower than what it is. Take that $100 and add it to the $75 that you was paying for something else. Now you're paying $175 instead of that. And once people see it, a win is a win. And everybody, they manifest, when they see a win, they see an accomplishment. You got to cheerlead that, because it's not easy.
Celebrate.
Free money, they ready to go blow. Nope, not yet. Again, that's 6 months. Give me 6 months, commit to 6 months or whatever the time frame is. And then now you have, if you're paying out $1,000 in debt a month, how benefit wouldn't you want to see how that $1,000 can pay you, right? Are you tired of living this way? Just commit, patience, and discipline. So that, to me, once you get that to all stuff, and sometimes people have debt on credit on their credit report that should not even be there. Okay, but then that's an investigation. That's why I said it's a process with people who are credit specialists, but it all goes hand in hand. So I can show you a way by eliminating the debt, freeing up that money so you can pay yourself, because the goal here is to have money when it's time, when you go to retire. You have to plan for your future, because if you don't save money now, money is not going to save you later.
So
Oh, they got some kind of fire drill going. It's weird.
Goodness. And you in the airport? Oh my goodness.
You get that. Might have to skip, guys. I think unless it's a false alarm.
So in closing, from each of you, what do you guys have some remarks of encouragement or wisdom you'd like to leave for our audience?
I'll start out. So if this isn't a false alarm, what I would encourage people is that it's never too late to start a new financial journey. Get educated on financial literacy. Talk to people like Shelia. She can help you. Talk to people like me. I can tell you certain things, have good conversation. Get to know people and be around positive people, and stop trying to impress people that don't like you. It's just a waste. And focus on the positive things and those things. And that would be my advice in closing, is to do that.
That was good. And my closing is here. We can help you. Okay. When you think that there's not the light at the end of the road. It is. It can start today. You can start today. You can turn your finances around. You just need to get in front of the right people. This is the holidays. We're about to, exit out of 2025. Everybody wants to start anew, in a brand new year. And this is the time where, and with today's time, with this, where we living in, if COVID wasn't a wake up call for anyone financially, right? That was a slap in the face. A lot of people, it was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think that life was going to be like that during COVID time. But now, to me, I feel like we're living in a whole nother COVID pandemic. We're living in another pandemic, financial pandemic, where we don't know where we're going from today or tomorrow. But I'm here to give people hope. I'm here to let people know, regardless of where you are, be safe. Be safe. No matter where you are financially, we can always turn that around. Don't give up. Just get in front of the right people, ask for help, and then and let us help you. But if you want the help, please be coachable. Please be coachable, okay? Because for myself and even the panel that's here, we're all here to help you. So, let's just get a game plan, get a financial game plan written out. What do you want your 2026 to look like financially? What would you like your next Christmas season to look like? Think about that now. What would you like your next Thanksgiving to look like? What would you like 5 years to look like? You want to get that home, that business going, that investment going. Write it out and then seek the help to get it. So I'm here and open at all times. Charles, you need me, just call. Send me a smoke signal, send me an email. I don't care what you do. Reach out to me. And if any of the viewers out here have any questions, we can go deep into how-tos, and here's where I want to leave. How often do you really think about money? How often do you think about money? And when you think about it, what exactly do you think about? That's what I'm going to help you with.
Well, I want to thank you and the rest of the panel that was here because, I thought it was so important to have this kind of discussion, especially at this time of year and what the climate of America is going through right now.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are having, they've more than pushed the panic button. They haven't been able to actually adjust to the times, or if they're making an adjustment, the adjustment is not adequate because people don't know how to plan for bad situations. And so I appreciate all of you for being here because I think this was more than just informative, but I think it was a wake-up call for a lot of people that have taken a lot of these times for granted.
Yes.
Because I think now a lot of people have found out what's real and what's false. And so now you can't go back and change that. But the thing is, you just have to learn and you got to keep moving. And so just in that, I really do appreciate you guys for spending this time with us. And I want to say for everybody that's watching on all of the 8 channels that have been watching the show, if you have not yet subscribed, especially to those of you that are watching on the YouTube channels, I would appreciate your support if you would go and subscribe and enable all notifications where you're able to watch the shows live, as well as go back and watch all of the previous recorded shows where you've got plenty of lessons to learn.
Yes.
Also, I want to put out this, now we're doing shows, where we're actually set to do shows Monday through Thursday, going into season 4, which goes in effect as of January 12th. We are creating a brand new segment where now we will be on 5 days a week. We're creating Final Word Friday. Final Word Friday is going to be like what we had here. It'd be a 3-person panel where each and every individual just come on and we talk about hot topics. It's not it's a show, but it's a different show. So you get to talk about hot topics. It's still in the 6 o'clock hour, so you still. But the difference now is while you're talking about that, you can have your cocktail, the drink of your choice, and we talk about the hot topics, and everybody gets to have their word, so people can know what they feel about certain things. And also, of course, our community is still growing. I want to thank everybody for that, as well as the magazine. Issue number 5 is coming out on December 1st. And I want to thank you guys that have been in the magazine and that are supporting us. I do appreciate that. Shelia, I want to thank you again. I will definitely be in touch with you, and so you can let me know. I'll send you some dates, for next season, and you just tell me where you fall in. If you want to do Final Word Friday, or if you want to do one of those shows, the regular show, you just let me know. I definitely appreciate that, and we will be in touch. And I thank you again because I really do appreciate you.
Oh man, thank you so much, Charles. Listen, all you have to do is just call. Just call whatever I can do to fit in and be very supportive of what you've been doing. Thank you so much for just creating this platform. It's very needed. I think that your topics are so on point. And I'm excited about season 4. I'm just like, oh my goodness, what is this gonna be like? And whatever you need me to do, I'm here. I just want to, continue to contribute to this success here because it's definitely needed, and you can't say it's not out there. Okay. It's not out there because you are definitely reaching out there. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate you. And to all the panels that was on here, they in travel. So, praying that everything stays, they're safe because, that was kind of scary, but that's what we're living in today's times. Get that emergency fund together. Let's talk about that. What is that? I'm not, let's get, because you never know when turn on the news. You need to go to the airport, good gracious.
Exactly.
So, but thanks again, Charles. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything.
You all have a great evening and join us next week not next week, I'm sorry, but we're taking the Thanksgiving week off. We will be back the week of December 1st, as a matter of fact. We will see you guys then. You all have a great holiday.
Yes.
And please come back and see us on American Black and White, where we will continue to color conversations on the canvas